Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall-Greider. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall-Greider.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I'm honored to be connecting in with you as we are looking at June. I can't believe we are in June already. It's the summer. And as we're looking back, it's been half a year. I always think it's great to check in periodically and look at where we started the year. Look at all that has happened, that we have overcome together, that we have leaned in and through to be able to connect with each other today. And I want to celebrate that connection, that opportunity that we have to still connect around the world in such meaningful ways. It is a privilege and an honor to have you as part of our community, to be able to pour into you. And in order for you to get the most out of our time together today, I want you to be open, ready to receive, recognizing, realizing this is your time to receive. You can put the doing aside for a moment and be open, ready to receive and be poured into. Our intent by the end of today's show is for you to be ready to go back out into the world filled to overflowing, not overwhelmed, overflowing, meaning you're so full with information, encouragement, insight, reminders that as you go back out into the world, there's a natural overflow of that information, of that beautiful encouragement and purposefulness and mindfulness that you are able to bring forward in your life. So thank you for joining us today. We have a really special guest that is going to be sharing some of his journey, as well as a powerful book that he's going to be releasing right around Father's Day. You'll get to lean in and learn a little bit more about that as he shares from his heart to yours powerful information, encouraging messages, and I know you'll be inspired, touched, and encouraged by what he will be sharing and releasing in this powerful book. So you're in for an amazing show. Again, honored to have you joining us. But let's take a moment to connect in on a heart level. And to do that, let's take a breath in through our nose, out through our mouth, like through a straw. Beautiful. Let's take another breath in. See how big you can make your belly? Beautiful. And then out through your mouth, like through a straw. Beautiful. Go ahead and close your eyes. You're absolutely safe. Let's put one hand on your heart, one hand on your head. This is a way to mindfully bring all of you in, mind, body, soul, and spirit as you breathe. What is it that you need today? What is it that will encourage you, uplift you, empower you? What are you needing today, real time, to support you on your journey? Just take a moment to listen and see what it is that you need. Let's identify it. And let's add another layer to this. So what is it that you need and are willing to receive, unattached to how it comes? You don't have to figure out the how, but what is it that you need and are willing to receive, because you have choice. Just see if you can get some clarity around that. Beautiful. Okay. We're going to come back into the room. Let's take another breath. Eyes open. Wonderful. And as you are joining us, your eyes are open, you are fully present. I want you to take a moment and write down what was laid on your heart, what it is that you need and are willing to receive real time. What is it you need and are willing to receive? It's so easy to get distracted to forget, to not be actively on the lookout. By writing it down, you're actually helping bring it into reality. You're helping keep it top of mind, relaxing that you don't have to figure out the how. In fact, you're looking forward to the wonderful and amazing way this need will be met in ways you never even imagined. By releasing the how, you can be amazed, excited, and surprised by the way this need will be met. Wonderful. So take a moment, write that down, and we're going to go around our virtual room here as I connect in with our guest, and I'm going to have him share just a moment briefly what was laid on his heart when he took a moment to just stop, pause, and listen. Patrick, I'd love for you to share what was laid on your heart.
What I felt was, I think, the need for connection with people, and not just the family and friends you already have, but new connections. And, this journey for me is just beginning into being an author and being published. And already I've been able to connect with new people and, get positive feedback from them, and that's something I need. And I think what I'm also willing to accept, and I've already seen happening, is it's not just a one-way street where it's me telling people this is what happened to me or this is what we experienced, but hearing other people's stories and learning from that and learning what they've gone through and what they've experienced and how it affected them, and taking that in, that's another really powerful thing to accept into my life that I'm willing and ready to take in.
Beautiful. I love that. I mean, that just sounds like a deepening connection and expansion in that by having it deep enough that it can go both ways like that. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And listeners, how about you? What was laid on your heart when you took a moment to stop, pause? I like to call it catch up with yourself a little bit. We can get so busy in the doing, we don't always remember to stop, pause, breathe, and listen. So I encourage you throughout our show today, we're going to give you moments to do that. That deep breathing that we did, I encourage you to use that throughout the show. When we take those deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, right deep into the belly, and then release, that actually helps lower your stress levels, your cortisol levels, brings oxygen throughout your body, helps release what no longer serves so you can be fully present. You can have clarity of thinking. So as we get ready to go to our first commercial break and these 2 minutes go by, you'll hear these updates and commercials that we, of course, want you to hear and be informed of what's coming, information we want you to be aware of. But I invite you to stay present. Resist that urge to go cross things off the to-do list. This is your time. I encourage you to fully immerse yourself in it. Be willing to stay present and breathe and see what is being spoken into your heart and spirit. See if what Patrick shared about that deepening of connections and the expansion of connections speaks to you. Do you want to add that into what's being placed on your heart? So enjoy these 2 minutes. And when we come back, we will continue our conversation.
Be sure to friend us on Facebook. You can do it right now. Visit facebook.com/Voice America or search for us at keyword Voice America.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Get Unchained. Tune in every Monday for Jane Unchained on the Voice America Influencers channel, featuring nationally recognized best-selling author, TV journalist, and social media influencer Jane Velez Mitchell. This program takes you inside a trending lifestyle that's the next wave of human evolution. It all starts on your plate. If you want to revolutionize your life, get happier, more energized, then discover the secret. Tune in to Jane Unchained Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time and 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Influencers channel. Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Have you had a chance to check out Voice America's online magazine and blog? If you love our hosts and shows, check out articles that give an even deeper perspective, plus topics about health and fitness, movie reviews, philosophy, business tips and tactics, spirituality, positive thought, current events, and even more about your favorite host. It's just a click away at blog.voiceamerica.com. That's blog.voiceamerica.com. The Voice America Press Blog. All access, all the time. We don't follow, we lead. Join us, the Voice America Influencers Channel.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes that you took a moment to stop and pause and listen and just be still, be present, and see what is being laid on your heart and your spirit. I think we can have amazing insights and aha moments, and sometimes just catch our breath by remembering to stop and pause and listen. So you're going to have opportunities throughout our time together today to do that, so you can bring into your life those things that serve. Instead of adding it to the to-do list, the someday maybe I'll get to it list, you actually can start to integrate those things that serve on a cellular level through breath when you take that moment to stop, pause, breathe, and listen. So welcome back. We are talking with an amazing father, writer, a heartfelt. I have so many things I could say about Patrick that's joining us today. So I want to take a moment and introduce him to you. You're going to find he has multiple facets and has such a heart to be open and share and make a positive difference. And I know you're going to hear that in all that he shares with you. So Patrick P. Long is a father, a widower. He was born and raised in St. Louis. His wife, Melanie, passed away from breast cancer in 2019. So remember, we're just in 2020 right now, so in 2019. While pursuing his life ambition of being a writer, he earned his living as a systems engineer and database architect. So very much strong in all things online and having all of those things work together. And he's absolutely passionate about making a positive difference and is an author of a forthcoming book he'll be sharing about today. Please lean in and warmly welcome Patrick P. Long to the show. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here. This is awesome.
Oh, you are very, very welcome. We are thrilled to have you joining us. And I always love to start with a conversation of why. Why? Two things, actually. So why is the work of being a writer? That's been a lifelong ambition. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about why that is something so on your heart and that making a positive difference, why that's important to you as well. We'd love to learn about both of those areas as we lean into getting to know about you.
Yeah, that's great. It started really at a very young age, and it's evolved through the years. But even as a kid, I'm from St. Louis, and we grew up in Missouri. And just a little ways up the road is Hannibal, Missouri, which is the home of Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens. And I remember going up there as a kid and reading his books, and I just thought he was like the coolest person in the world. And I wanted to be that from the time I was a kid. And as I got older, I got into like doing some story writing and things like that, even on the side just for fun. I remember when I was in 8th grade, I was not a very good student, and I didn't do a lot in class. But when we got into writing our school play, I kind of almost took it over. And everybody's kind of shocked because everybody never saw me really work that hard at something. And I wrote most of our school play myself. But then, it just kept evolving. Over the years, every time I'd read a book, I'd want to write it or want to write one. And I love the entertainment value of it, the escape, and all those things. We think about the enjoyment. But as the years went on, it also became so much more. I saw the art in it, and I realized, how much we share with each other, even in fiction stories, even just a mystery or anything that's, whether it's a true story or not, whatever it is, we're always learning from it. If it's well written, it's a good story. You think of education being in school, but I think in the stories we share, we learn as much as we do, and sometimes what we learn is more valuable. So the entertainment factor, the expression, the art, the sharing our stories, the learning from each other, it's all just so powerful, and it's just the drive to do it has just become stronger throughout the years for me.
Thank you for sharing. I love that started at such a young age, that you were you had that interest. You were starting to grow that interest, and then it kept speaking to you through time, and how much we can learn from the books that we read, the stories that we hear and are shared with us. And I'd also love for you to share how making a positive difference has become important to you as well.
Well, I guess the main way it's become important to me is that it's because I benefited so much from that. There's been so much in our community and people, not only since my wife passed, but even in the few years before that, because she was going through cancer battles, and just seeing how much, we had people in the community we barely knew who were doing just amazing stuff for us. Stuff I would never even think to do for anybody. And just right and left every single day almost, and people just showing up. We had somebody come over and do yard work one day. We don't know who it was. They did it while we weren't home, and stuff like that. And just there's so much we've benefited from, and it's humbling. And when you've gone through that, I think a big part of it is it makes you want to give back, and you want to do that for others.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I think that's so beautiful that people were leaning in and supporting and doing those practical things on a day-to-day basis that can just seem so overwhelming when you're going through such challenging times. And that outpouring that you received really laying on your heart this desire to give back, to pay it forward. So thank you for sharing. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
Now, we've started to get into your story a little bit, so I'd like to take a moment and have you share the title of your book and what is it about? What's something people will discover in reading your book?
So the title of the book is Ordinarily Extraordinary. The story it's a true story, completely true story, and it's about the events surrounding the events of 2019, when my wife did pass away last year. It begins when she had a stroke in early 2019, and this was after a 3.5-year battle with cancer. The story goes through the next few weeks when we were basically in and out of the hospital, and mostly in the hospital throughout those few weeks. During that time, she was experiencing a lot of setbacks medically, and we were just dealing with a whole lot, and we have 4 young children. So I was also struggling to keep up normal routines and everything else with our kids and our family and the rest of our life. So the story is framed around that. And as it goes through the story, I reflect a lot on our lives. And I realized quickly I wanted to make it something much more. Originally, my very first instinct was to honor Melanie. But as I went, I realized this to be a truly powerful story and let people see it through our eyes. I reflected a lot on some very honest and candid things. Marital turmoil we had, some failures, some regrets. I had a business fail. And I really opened up about those things. I actually shared some secrets that none of my closest friends and family even knew about me. Some of them have kind of pre-read the book, and we're kind of shocked of some of the stuff I revealed that they didn't even know. And then the fight was taken, and she passed. The story continues on for a few weeks following that. And during that time, it's really focused on, I was really trying to set a positive tone for our lives. I was very determined not to, live sad. I wanted us to be positive and thrive moving forward. And from there, it becomes a very inspirational story, I believe, full of hope, because that's the way I chose to look at things. I didn't focus on the negative.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I have had the opportunity to read your book, and I was so moved. And my heart was touched. I was cheering for Melanie. I was touched by her heart and her spirit, and I felt like I knew you and her to some extent through how candidly and openly you shared in your book, and it has created an imprint on my heart and my life. And so I want to thank you for leaning in, being willing to share about your lives, about your journey, about Melanie in this book in such a powerful and transparent way. Now, I want to let our listeners know a couple of things. So one, what is the release date? Because I know it's not available yet. It's going to be released on Amazon on Kindle first. Do you mind sharing just a little bit about when and what date they should mark on their calendar?
Yeah, that'd be great. We are initially releasing it as an ebook only on July 19th, so next week on Friday. And that's going to be an online release. We'll be online, posting some things on Facebook and different places. But anybody can go on to Amazon and get the ebook for that. And that's Father's Day weekend. We're doing a special rate. We're releasing the book for only $1 as an ebook. So anybody can go just get the ebook for $1 for that first 24 to 48 hours.
Perfect.
So that's our opening week campaign, and then the following week we'll release the paperback on the 27th.
Wonderful. So everybody, in case you missed that, is June 19th. Mark that on your calendar. It's going to be available. So next week, it's coming up June 19th. And it'll be available on Amazon in a Kindle format. And just as a reminder, you do not have to have a Kindle device. It's a myth in order to enjoy a Kindle book. So I encourage you to consider adding this to your library. We'll also be promoting and sharing it out on Amazon and in social media. So you can definitely watch for it. Please mark that on your calendar. We love to bring you great resources to support you on your journey and make those available. And we're excited, Patrick, that you are making it available for that special $1 rate. I believe it's for the first 24, maybe 48 hours. And do you mind sharing why you elected to release it right before Father's Day? So June 19th is just a couple days before Father's Day. I'd love for you to share why.
I just think that's so appropriate. I mean, it's a powerful story about family, and not only Melanie and I and our family, but family, community, dealing with issues with our children. And in the book, as I mentioned, I go back and reflect a lot on my past, and that includes some things from my childhood and things like that. So I just felt Father's Day is just such an appropriate time to do it. Again, it's something, it would make a great gift for fathers. I think anybody, wants to reflect on their lives, their parents, their own life as parents, different things like that. It's a great story, and that's just a very appropriate time, I think, to relate a story like this.
I agree. And it's so beautiful to be able to hear from a father's perspective and a father's heart. And I felt like you spoke from that place so openly. It's such an opportunity for us to hear from that perspective and to see through your eyes some of the journey and going through the really challenging times that you did, finding the extraordinary in that, finding the positive and the good, and that's what you choose choose to bring forward, I think is very inspiring. So listeners, I hope that you mark that date on your calendar. We are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do that, remember, these are 2 minutes just for you. Take a moment, write June 19th on your calendar, circle the date, watch for the book, and take a moment to really see what's being laid on your heart and your spirit. And we'll look forward to continuing our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Think you've seen everything there is to see in online television? Let us surprise you. Visit voiceamerica.tv today for sports, health, business, and more on demand 24/7.
Rebecca Hall-Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Sustainable success is just around the corner. If you are an entrepreneur, business leader, or anybody looking for their next level of success, tune into Sustainable Success with host Chris Salem. Did you know that the path to success is a long path that started many years ago? The path you started on then determines what is happening now. Chris and his amazing guests in their field will help you navigate the path to sustainable success every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern Time and 9 a.m. Pacific on the Voice America Influencers channel.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Tune in to the Voice America Variety channel on the Voice America Talk Radio Network. Voice America Variety broadcasts a diverse array of topics, reaching a global community. Our experts come from all walks of life, and the topics they discuss are everything from current events, arts and entertainment, leadership, parenting, relationships, self-improvement, career advice, and a variety of other topics. Check us out today. You're sure to find something of interest. Voice America Variety. Talk on today's hot topics.
Change starts here. Change starts now. Join us, the Voice America Influencers channel.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall-Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes, that it gave you an opportunity to stop, pause, breathe, and really receive everything that is serving you, is touching your heart. I always think it's great to look back at what was laid on your heart at the beginning of the show and just check in, see if that is moving forward for you. You want to remember to keep it top of mind and be on the lookout. As we continue our conversation, I'm hoping some of that will move forward for you, either in what Patrick is sharing or what is being shared into your heart and spirit as you join in our time together and really participate in fully being present and receiving all that is here for you. So welcome back. We are talking with Patrick P. Long, author of Ordinarily Extraordinary. And his book is going to be released on June 19th, so right before Father's Day. I want to encourage you all to put that date on your calendar. He'll be releasing it for a special rate of $1 for the first 24 hours. We want to encourage everyone to lean in, get a copy, and I know it will touch your heart and encourage your spirit. And I'd love for us to, as we continue our conversation, Patrick, I'd love for you to share a little bit about Melanie. I know behind the scenes, I brought up her name and I started to smile because I felt like I got to know her spirit so beautifully and powerfully. And she had such a gift for making friends, connecting deeply, and being a positive light in people's life, no matter what she had going on in her own life. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about that. In what ways did Melanie show you how to see the good in others?
And that she could just connect with people so quickly and so deeply. And, that was part of what, brought me to her in the beginning, both by my, from her connecting with me, but also from just sitting back and watching her connect with other people. She just had an amazing gift for that. And I remember one time we were talking just about relationships and whatnot. And I remember that the term that came up that I'll never forget she mentioned that kind of surprised me because I'd never just thought of it this way. But she talked about casual friendships, or she also called them kind of like occasional relationships and how important those were. And I kind of didn't get exactly what she meant at first, but, I'd always had a lot of anxiety in, like, large group gatherings or interacting with people, and I wasn't the most outgoing, especially around people I didn't know as well. But she would be the opposite. She would just embrace that. And I kind of learned both from her telling me and watching her do it how she realized, a lot of times you go into a large group gathering or something, and a person maybe isn't real friendly to you right off the bat. Well, the old me, I might have blown them off. But the new me, I kind of learned from her and saw from her how to kind of recognize that a lot of times those people, they're not rude people, they're not bad people, they're great people, but maybe they have their own anxieties, their own shyness, and just continuing to be friendly with them. And, as I've done that over time, I've learned and discovered that I've connected with people better by just being more tolerant and patient and just friendly, and it really enriches your life because I've formed a lot more of those kind of casual relationships. We have a group that we did a trivia night with. This a good example of this. We did a trivia night with here. Mm-hmm. It's an annual fundraising event, and after Melanie, we did it with them for a few years, and after Melanie passed, I almost thought about not doing it because I kind of knew the people through her, and I didn't know them as well. And then I decided, well, no, I'm going to keep doing that. And this next year, just had an absolute blast with them. And from going there and just connecting with them more, I actually became even closer friends with them. And it's become something now that even though they're not, they're your closest friends. They're not people I see and talk to every day. But yet at the same time, I look forward to that event every year. I'm looking forward to it coming up again later this year. And, just those kind of things, those relationships have just, it's enriched my life so much understanding that everybody doesn't have to be your best friend, and being that to other people makes me feel better as well.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I remember there's one point in the book where Melanie was having this ongoing conversation on the phone, right? And you were sitting there and listening. You're trying to figure out, who is this? And eventually when the conversation ended, it turned out it was a bill collector that had called and had become, the relationship had formed with Melanie. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that? That's just an example of how she just formed connections everywhere in relationships.
Yeah, exactly. That was years into our marriage. When by then you'd think I knew her. You'd be at that point where you think nothing can surprise you anymore. And I had a business fail, and we had gone through some tough financial times. But it was also after her cancer diagnosis, and the bill was actually over a small fee. It was only a couple $100 that she was refusing to pay because I don't want to pretend she was perfect. She gets a little stubborn sometimes, but she had been misdiagnosed at one place, and she just refused to pay the bill, even though it wasn't all that much. And I just would kind of tell her, just pay it, get it over with, so look what hassling is. But anyway, the bill collector they put on it kept calling, and so, I'm sitting there one night, and she's having this whole conversation, and I kind of she was friends with so many people and did this so often, I almost had like a little game I played where I tried to guess who was on the phone, but that one had me stumped, and when she got off and she told me, I was stunned. She literally was rattling off things about this person's life, this bill collector, who she knew, she knew her kids' names, how old her kids were, what they were doing in school, like what extracurriculars they were in. I mean, it just amazed me how well she knew this person. I'm like, most people are rude to bill collectors and try and get off the phone or screen their calls. She just kind of amazed me, how much she could just build this fairly deep relationship with this person,
Yeah.
I would avoid it.
Exactly. And saw everyone as a person and was interested in them. I just think she had such an amazing spirit and capacity to lift others up in connections like that. And I know that in your book, you're pretty candid and open. I mean, you share challenges you guys had, you share some of your past a little bit, and you were willing to be so open about all of that. So I have two questions around that. One, I'm curious, I guess, what led you to be willing? Because it's a gift to all of us as readers to be able to share in your lives in that way. So what led you to be so open and candid about that? And then my second question is, how do you think Melanie would feel about what is shared in the book as you're bringing it forward?
Great questions. Those, I think, basically just when I started writing the book, my very first instinct was I wanted to write it to honor Melanie, preserve memories of her, and examples of her for our kids and others, and I just thought it could be good. But as soon as I got into it, I realized it was something more than that, and I wanted to share things on a deeper level. And it's kind of like I said earlier in this, that as a writer, I see myself as an artist, and I think as an artist, you have to be ready to bare your soul. If you're going to do something meaningful and really share your story with people, you can't hold back. So I just felt compelled. I was like, I have to let the readers see this through my eyes and through our experiences, and not just try to pretend she was some perfect person, but, because no one has a perfect relationship, no one has a perfect marriage. To pretend you do, or pretend, I don't try to, paint her as some saint after she's passed. So I was very real about some of the, marital turmoil we had and some of my own issues, and different things like that. And I just felt that was necessary, to make the story as powerful as it could be. And again, connect with the reader. And again, let readers, share that and feel it in their own lives, because we've all had similar experiences and we learn from one another. And that's the power of sharing our stories. So, the second part of your question, what would Melanie think of it? Melanie she this sort of almost, I don't know if paradox is the right word about her, because she could be so outgoing and just almost the center of attention out in a large group, but then she would have a lot of anxiety about it. It was kind of funny to watch how somebody who could get that anxious would still go do it. And I feel like that's kind of would be her reaction. I think if she first read this book, she'd probably be like, are you kidding me? You're sharing that, or, be anxious about it. But then as she thought about it, she'd be like, no, that's great. You should do it. And like, she would love a book like this. She would get so into it, because that's exactly when she was trying to connect with people all the time and get to know them. That's the kind of thing she was connecting with them on, very real things. She was a very real person. Yeah. And so I think she would actually love this book and really appreciate it and be glad I wrote it.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. There's a moment in the book. Is it okay if I go to one of there were so many favorite moments, but there's a favorite moment I had. Is it okay if I go there? This is not a prepared question, everybody, so I'm giving choice. No, I had lots of things in it that touched me, but there was a moment where the first responders are coming. It's that kind of a critical situation, and she's not fully clothed, and so you run to the room to get some pants so that she can put something on herself, right, below the waist,
right.
And so you're about to do that and help her get in, and she's not able to really speak and communicate as strongly as she normally does. I don't want to give away too much there, but she made it really clear, not those pants. So in moment in this situation where they're coming. It's life and death kind of. We've got to get things taken care of. She still was not those pants, and you had to go back and get different pants and put them
Right.
on. And later we discover why and everything. But I love that you shared that moment because it's so human. I could so see myself in a situation like that. My husband running to get and choosing the wrong thing for me to wear.
Yeah.
I still would care about that. So that was.
And what's funny, if I can make a quick comment about that scene,
please. Yeah.
the very first person I ever had read the book was an agent editor, and looking at trying to get an agent or a publisher kind of thing, and there's this opportunity to have your first 10 pages of your book reviewed. Anyway, this person came back to me and told me, "Oh, you should cut that out. Get it out of the book because, this is a time, this scene where, you're building sympathy for the reader and this is so dramatic and intense." And I just remember thinking, no, like this is what makes it real. And so it's so great to hear you point out that scene that you liked it and it's a favorite because I felt that exactly that. Like even in our most intense moments, sometimes there's very real, humor and just oddities going on. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to just try to make it melodramatic. I want to make it a real scene, and that's what really happened. So hearing you say that, I'm really glad I kept it in there.
I'm glad I didn't know that that story and that conversation that you'd had with them when they reviewed it. Yeah, it was one of those that pulled me right into. I could relate and completely understand, even in that moment, that certain things were just not okay or needed to be different. So I appreciated that, and I appreciated her heart and spirit in all the different moments that you shared and the realness. So I just want to thank you again for making this book available. As we get ready to go to our next commercial break, I just wanted to see, is there anything on your heart that you hope people gain by leaning into this book, adding it to the library, reading it, sharing it? What is something you hope readers gain?
The first thing, the primary thing that comes to mind is just that perspective, that power. This is where it comes back to that power of sharing our stories and why we do it. I think one of the big things that happened with me going through this is you have a lot of moments when you're going through something like this where a lot of thoughts and feelings hit you, and you can't really control what those thoughts and feelings are, I believe. You feel guilty about having them, and you might be thinking selfish thoughts or different things and that would happen all the time, and I would feel so guilty and bad, and then you feel like, well, am I the only one who feels this way or has, you sometimes hear people talk about going through a tough time or losing a loved one, and they'll be like, oh, it was just all about them, and, you have to put yourself aside and just focus on them. And I think, I definitely did that, but at the same time, I'm like, you're not that way consistently, and, we're not perfect people. Yeah. I plenty of bad thoughts and feelings hit me throughout this, at all different moments in my life, not just with Melanie. And I think it helps to know other people have had the same thing. And I think that was one of the big goals, not only to let readers relate to us and understand our perspective, but to share that and show people and let people, whether it's my kids or other people who read it, know, when you're in tough situations and, selfish or bad thoughts hit you, that's just what's going to happen. And you can't the phrase I've come to, that I anchor on or think back on all the time with that is, you can't control the thoughts and feelings that hit you very often, but what you can control is what you do with them, how you process them, how you come out of them. So that's a major part of all the motivation I had in the book, what I wanted to share with people, and what, a big thing I hope people take from it.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. Listeners, as we get ready to go to our next commercial break, I invite you to take a moment and stop and pause. Listen to that great insight and wisdom that Patrick is sharing with us about we can have all those feelings. We can't always choose that we feel this way or we're struggling with that, but we can choose our response and choose how we elect to move forward. So enjoy these next 2 minutes, and we'll look forward to continuing our conversation, including giving you contact information to stay in touch with Patrick. So make sure to stay tuned, and we'll look forward to talking to you in just 2 minutes.
follow us on Twitter at VoiceAmericaTRN. Get the lowdown on guests, new shows, and your favorites. That's VoiceAmericaTRN. Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
There's a new force to be reckoned with in talk radio. It's not just talk radio. Hosted by LaTanya Jr. and co-host Tina Wynn and Tony Brown. Not Just Talk Radio is like a superhero, inspiring, problem-solving, and informing. Packed with action-provoking conversations from news, movements, and social and politics issues. This program is about a wide range of voices and fresh points of view from experts, celebrities, and you, the listener. Not Just Talk Radio is broadcast live Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific on the Voice America Influencers Channel.
Rebecca Hall-Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Become a member of VoiceAmerica.com. It's easy, and best of all, it's free. Start out by going to our homepage or any of our channels and click Register at the top. Once you've created an account and signed in, you can create your own custom library, opt into our newsletter, search by show, host, guest, or topic of interest, or browse millions of hours of content across all of our Voice America radio channels. Membership gets you more. Visit VoiceAmerica.com today to get started and tailor the listening experience to your taste.
We don't follow, we lead. Join us, the Voice America Influencers Channel.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall-Greider. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes, that you had an opportunity to stop, pause, and integrate what Patrick has been sharing with us. And behind the scenes, we were just reflecting on the show and feeling in to see what Patrick had on his heart to share and what we wanted to cover. And what I asked him to talk about is share a little bit about a tip, a piece of advice, give us some guidance on how we too can choose to move forward, choose the positive, even though we may have these feelings and the reactions and things swirling around in us with all that is going on around us. I'd love for him to share how we can choose to move forward in the ways that matter most, choose to be positive, choose our response. And so, Patrick, I'd love for you to comment on that, add your wisdom and tips on how we can do that. How can we choose to move forward in a positive way?
I think for me, the way I do it and the choice is to just have an anchor, have something that I can reflect on at any time. And, I don't get too specific in a way, but I kind of do. But thinking about kind of something I said earlier, that I just see there's a lot more good than bad in the world. There's a lot more positives than negatives. And for me, sometimes the way to see that isn't to look in the immediate moment, because the immediate moment can be overwhelming. But if you really just look back, long back in, our whole, journey as humans, we have just come so far in so many ways. I mean, life used to be a heck of a lot more brutal in every way. And just looking at that and realizing things have progressed so tremendously, and there are still lots of problems to overcome, individually in life, as a society, in every other way. But we are doing so much better than people did, centuries ago or even 100 years ago, with just not only with technology, but just with our communication, everything else. It's just, and I focus on that. So I just draw back to it, and I keep thinking there must be way more good than bad out there, or we wouldn't have progressed like that. We'd still be living a much harsher life. So even when things get really down, and I think about that, I think, okay, because then I know we're going to get through it. And we're not just going to get through it like it's going to stop and end and be over, but we're going to get through it like we're going to learn from this and improve and become better. And that can be done both. I think that's both true on an individual basis and on a larger basis of society as a whole and community.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that perspective and how you look at things to kind of help you keep that positive approach and moving forward and realizing this too will pass and we can become better for it. And I feel like I also hear that you look for that proof of that. You look for the positive. You're choosing what you're even looking for and how you're looking at things as you're moving forward. And I think that's really powerful tool as well, to be able to choose our perspective, how we look at things, and those reminders, and then looking for proof of that and bringing it forward. Beautiful. So with that, I just want to thank you so much for taking time today. I know when a book is about to launch, it's a busy, busy time. So I appreciate you taking time to talk with us and leaning into the conversations. I know it has been powerful and served our listeners. Listeners, one more time, I want to make sure you have the magic date on your calendar for his book release. It is on June 19th, so please circle that on the calendar. It will be available in a Kindle format, and you can get it on Amazon for the special rate of $1. So if you're watching for that, I know that we're looking to reach as many hearts and families as possible with this transformational book. And with that, Patrick, I wanted to give you an opportunity to share your contact information. So anyone who wants to stay in touch, take things to a deeper level, they'll be able to do that. So what's the best way for people to follow you or to get in touch?
The best way, the website is the easiest, and it's just PatrickPLong.com. So just Patrick and then P as in Patrick. That's not actually what it stands for, but PatrickPLong.com. You can also go on Facebook. I have a Facebook author page. It's obviously a big, long link, but if you just search for Patrick P. Long author page, you can get to my author page and like it and follow information there. On the website, again, PatrickPLong.com, you can subscribe to email alerts so you can stay informed of what's going on. And my email address, if anybody does need to contact me, is just PatrickP@PatrickPLong. So pretty easy to remember.
Beautiful.
That.
Thank you. And then I believe there's a percent of the royalties that are coming in from the book. They're also going to be shared with a couple of organizations. Do you mind sharing about that as well? I forgot to cover that in the questions earlier, and I know that's something our listeners would love to know.
Yeah, so we had two organizations that have just been huge in our life since Melanie's diagnosis. One is the American Cancer Society. We've got to know people here in the St. Louis branch of American Cancer Society very well. We participate in their Making Strides for Breast Cancer walk every year, and we're just advocates for that. So, yes, a portion of the proceeds is going to them, to the American Cancer Society. And then another portion is going to Camp Kesem, and that's spelled with a K, K-E-S-E-M. And Camp Kesem is a camp for children of parents with cancer. And it's really more than a camp. It's a whole community. It's run by college students out of colleges. So there's, I think, over 130 chapters now run through different colleges all across the country. They do a week-long camp every summer, and then they have other activities throughout the year. And they have just been phenomenal for our kids. Our kids they've been such amazing support for our children since Melanie got diagnosed. And so, yes, I'm definitely giving back to them as well.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. And I think it's really beautiful that as this book goes out to touch so many hearts, that it will have this ongoing impact in so many people's lives. So thank you again for joining us, listeners. Thank you for leaning in. I hope this has touched your heart. And as you get ready to go back out into the world, I want you to know that you are beautifully and wonderfully made. Absolutely needed for such a time as this. Your story, your path, your journey, your life absolutely makes a difference. And how you make the biggest difference in the world is being willing to share the gift of who you are. And I feel like Patrick has been a beautiful example of this today in how he shared and also how he shares in his book. And I want to encourage you to do the same. Be willing to share your heart, your life, and your spirit. Shine brightly and beautifully out in the world. That makes a difference, heart by heart, life by life. So wherever you go, whatever you do, may you choose to bloom and shine. Have an amazing week, everyone. I'll look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter, next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, on the Voice America Influencers Channel. And join us for a replay of the show every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific, on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.